Good morning. Chillie Falls here with Chillies Cruises. A little technical glitch there on going live. So if I'm about a minute late, so sorry about that. You just know my technical skills suck. This is to be perfectly gauche about it. Let's see if I am on this morning. Like I'm supposed to be, and waiting for interesting. Not sure if I'm showing that I'm live on one and not live on the other. Oh yeah, it's Jason 412 is here, and I am live. Thank you, Jason. And I do have a comment to you this morning. Jason, it's Jason at 412 requested that Braticat make an appearance this morning, and Jason, his agent and Braticat negotiated, and they are negotiating with my agent over increasing the amount of food given at each feeding before the agent will let him appear. So I have no idea if that's going to get done today or not. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen Braticat since about, I don't know, 4:15. Last time I fed him. So he's probably in there asleep on a chair or something. Who knows? But he's liable to come visit us here sometime this morning. Okay, let's get right to it, folks. The information I'm going to give you today, man, is I really wanted to be able to tell you something differently today, but it's not going to happen. And everybody is aware of the fact that we're now dealing with a hurricane and not a tropical storm. It is now, of course, Hurricane Dorian. The major changes over the evening as of the 5 a.m. update. There were two changes. How significant they are is up for grabs. One is they are now projecting a slowdown as it reaches the continental United States. So they're now looking at landfall between Monday night and Tuesday night. So sometime Monday evening, overnight hours is when you can expect landfall. We still don't know exactly where it is. Where I had been hoping that the low pressure system that's been steering the storm northward would stay in place a little bit longer than the forecasters were projecting and cause this sucker to go north further. It apparently is not going to happen. They're still saying that this high pressure is going to move in and start steering this thing to the west. As of 5 a.m., it's still on that same northwesterly track it's been on for over 24 hours now, which is why it changed everything yesterday. And if it would continue on a little bit longer on this track, it could definitely change the impact on the mainland United States, even to the point of veering off to the north. When it hits the high pressure system that's moving in to basically replace this low pressure system, that's when it's going to start veering back to the west and will be a better deterrent on where it's going to hit land. But it looks more and more, folks, like it's going to hit land. And my friend Bonnie down there, I don't know if Bonnie will be able to join us this morning or not, as she had some rough storms during the night last night, I heard earlier, and was up considerably more than normal. She's like me, never sleeps, but even more so last night because of some storms that they had down there in Lake Worth. But anyway, Bonnie, if you do take a listen to this later on today, man, this thing's looking more and more like it's aiming right at you. I hate to tell you that, but I see it now where I'd hoped that it was going to be going further north, maybe even north of Daytona Beach, Jacksonville up there. It's looking more and more like it's coming right down your throat, down in the middle part of South Florida. I don't see it going all the way south to Miami as far as direct hit, but then I'm no expert. So it looks like we're definitely in for a significant event. It's going to be a Category 3. Bringing you up to date in case you missed all the news yesterday. It just wreaked havoc with the Virgin Islands. Puerto Rico skated on this one, folks, where we thought at first it was going to go across the western part of the island and just inundate, especially the southern portion. Then they thought it was going to go across the eastern part of Puerto Rico and nail San Juan. It missed Puerto Rico completely. Not missed. There was still lots of rain, lots of wind, but nothing like a direct hit. The Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands took the direct hit, and they just got killed yesterday. I mean, it was awful. Winds at St. Thomas, there were gusts of over 100 miles an hour. They had sustained winds of like 85 miles an hour, and this sucker is going to strengthen further today. How much it's going to affect your plans for the weekend? Man, if you've got any plans from, I'm going to say from the North Carolina coast south, boy, you want to look at changing them, because Monday's just, Labor Day is going to be awful. Even if the storm doesn't come in until Monday night, you're going to have all those outer bands that are going to hit you during the day. And, it's just not going to be a good scene, because it's definitely looking like a Category 3. That's a major hurricane, folks. Yeah, we've seen worse. We've seen 4s and 5s, but a 3 can be bad enough. Of course, there's been a state of emergency declared for the state of Florida. And they're talking now, as I say, Monday to Tuesday is the most likely thing, and that's one shift. The other interesting bit this morning is there seems to be a little increase in dry air sliding its way in on that would be the southeast side of the storm. Not a whole lot at this point, but that's something that, should it persist and increase, could have a weakening effect as we go on. However, that's going to be balanced by the fact that this sucker is over warm water now. There's nothing basically to stop it. It's going to cross over probably to the north of Freeport, heading toward the coast. So the Bahama Islands are not going to take a direct hit in all probability, but they're going to, 25, 35, 40 miles from the center of this thing can still be significant rainfall and wind. That's most likely going to happen. And this thing is going to get stronger through the day today and tomorrow, because it's on really warm water, and the shear, and this gets technically over my head. The things that will weaken a storm are just not present. So, man, it looks tough. It really does. And like I say, in all probability, Monday, Tuesday, Florida, someplace is going to get nailed. Now, to complicate the matter and to make it that much worse, once it gets to the coast, let's say, and no offense, Bonnie, let's say it hits right on you at Lake Worth. I'm just using that example. Goodness knows I don't want this to happen. I love you guys down there, and I know a lot of you are in harm's way, and I feel for you. But let's say it does, okay? Then we don't know what the hell it's going to do, because it's the slowed down effect that they're predicting now, which is what's causing it not to get to land until Monday, Tuesday, 24-hour period. We're not sure what it's going to do then. It could go straight across Florida, exit out somewhere near Tampa, go into the Gulf, hook around, come up the Gulf Coast. Maybe get into, far enough west to hook around and come in Galveston or New Orleans and come up that way. It could hit land and break up. It could veer to the north and go up along the coastline. There's just no idea what this thing is going to do. And this is just looking, especially for a holiday weekend, it's just looking awful, guys. I don't want to be an extremist, but I feel for you. I wouldn't want to be down there at all. I've got family and friends down there. And this is just, like I say, I didn't want to do the show this morning. I didn't want to talk about all bad news, but unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. I couldn't find anything really good to talk about the storm. It's bad. It was bad yesterday, especially on my friends down in Virgin Islands, and no telling yet how much damage there is down there. We'll start getting some reports on that later on today, I'm sure. Now, specifically on how this is all affecting the cruise industry, of course, the ports down there, San Juan, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, all those ports are closed. And as they've said, San Juan is, of course, that's the lead port, is closed until further notice. So we don't know, is that further notice later on today, tomorrow, when it will get open. Of course, they've got to assess damages and see. Thankfully, San Juan is probably the least or the most likely not to have sustained major damage. Thank goodness. But St. Thomas and St. Croix, don't be surprised if there's some major damage there, and things could change on any cruises going in or out of those ports. We still don't know what's going to happen with the weekend cruises out of San Juan. You know, they've got a couple ships that are based in San Juan that sail on Saturdays and Sundays. We don't know what's going to happen this weekend on those cruises. We don't know what's going to happen on airfares going in and out of there, depending on where those flights were coming from. Clearly, if they were coming out of Florida, going to San Juan, that's going to be affected now on the Florida end of things. So travel in this area is just going to be screwed up for a while. Then we look at the whole Florida situation. The Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in Florida, you've got a ton of cruises that sail from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, up to Port Canaveral, even to Jacksonville, where you've got not only the ships that sail from those ports, which are going to be affected in one way or another and may be changing those itineraries. You also have the problem of getting people there that get on the ship and the people home that get off the ships when they come in. So that's going to have the airports screwed up. It's a mess. You know, I've always been one to say, you know, this is a great time of year to book a cruise because you can get terrific bargains. That's fine when this doesn't happen. When this happens, boy, it becomes a terrific mess. Getting people home that are out on cruise ships, getting people there for the next sailings, it's just a mess. And again, people that don't have travel insurance, for years and years and years and years, I tried to travel without travel insurance because I felt it was a cost that I didn't need to forego. Well, this is when it definitely pays tenfold to have that ability. So Now, another problem that we had creep up, and my friend Bruce pointed this out yesterday. I started to do an update yesterday, and with what I've got going on, I just didn't have time to do it. And Bruce had gotten one up with Traveling with Bruce. Again, folks, if you don't follow Travel with Bruce, you need to. That's my buddy up in Canada, and he does a similar situation, similar channel to mine. He's a lot bigger than I am, but he did a video yesterday on the Allure of the Seas. The Allure of the Seas had already changed its itinerary for the week, but it was supposed to go into Progresso yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Anyway, whatever day it was, they're having an azopod issue. Two of the azopods are working out of three. One is not. So they've had to cut their speed. They cut out the Progresso visit, and we're sailing back to Galveston. And it looked like they were going to be late going into Galveston because of the azopod issue. And that then changes the next cruise. So the 5,000 people that were on the Allure of the Seas are going to get into port late. And the 5,000 people that were supposed to get on the Allure of the Seas on the next cruise, now that's screwed up. So that's a big mess as well. So that's still going on down there, and haven't heard anything as to whether they've been able to get that fixed or not. They were trying to fix it on the fly. As far as anything else, folks, I mean, there's everything down there is messed up. Coco Key was shut down completely by Royal Caribbean, along with the ports down there. Who knows when any of that's going to get open until this thing gets passed through. Other ships and cruises that could be affected on the Carnival side of things, the Carnival Sunshine has reordered, changed around the itineraries on what days they're going where. The Carnival Breeze is cut out going to San Juan. That was actually, they were supposed to be at San Juan yesterday, and of course it was closed. The Allure of the Sea has replaced the Eastern Caribbean visits to Nassau, St. Thomas, and St. Kitts. Of course, St. Thomas is now closed. Harmony has changed its itinerary. Disney Fantasy has changed, and that's just a few. I mean, if you're scheduled on any kind of cruise ships down there, anytime from now until next weekend, you need to do a lot of checking. All right, folks, you got plans for this weekend? Boy, you seriously need to think about it. If you're traveling to Florida for the holiday weekend, don't. Just flat don't. I'm sorry. Change your plans. Stay home. Go cook out in the backyard. Go swimming at your local pool because you don't want to be on a beach. That goes up the whole coast, folks, because this thing, we still don't know where it's going to go. This thing could still change. There could be this low pressure system could stay a little longer than they think. The high pressure system could change. All those kind of things are still up in the air. But it's just looking more and more like Central Florida, South Central Florida is in the sights and is going to get nailed. Sorry, folks. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to check on this morning is more on the personal side of things. I've spent the last 2 days squeezing lemons, and I have another day today of squeezing lemons. Those of you know me know that I have a little concessions business that I'm semi-retired from. I do funnel cakes and lemonade. Last night, my niece decided that she wanted to go to a restaurant that's a pretty good drive from us from here at the farm, but we go to on a semi-regular basis. I don't like to drive, 15 or 20 minutes to go eat. I like to get where I'm going in a hurry, but we go out to the Colonial restaurant fairly often. They have fried oysters at all times, and I love oysters. So one of my family decides they want to go out there. I go. I love their oysters. So my niece wanted to go last night. So we went to the Colonial, and at the table right next to me was a friend of mine, Kevin Keys, who's at Liberty University. Actually was the person that brought me to Liberty to do football games, to do funnel cakes and fresh squeezed lemonade at Liberty University 20 years ago. This will be my 20th season doing football games at Liberty. Now, folks, those of you that know me, I do not talk about two things on this space: religion and politics. This space is for travel and cruises. My feelings will never be displayed in any way unless it affects travel and cruise industry. I was opposed to President Trump's travel ban on Cuba. That is on this space, and I can easily say that without getting into my political beliefs or feelings one way or the other. Same thing with religion. I just won't do it because that only can offend half your audience, and I don't want to offend any of you. I don't care what your beliefs are, and I'm not going to try to impose my beliefs on you. The same thing with Liberty. I am not making any kind of religious statement when I talk about Liberty. I'm going to be there to sell funnel cakes and fresh squeezed lemonade. And because this is a huge game, it's the largest game that Lynchburg, Virginia has ever seen Saturday night, because Syracuse, a top 20 team, is coming to town. It's going to be a huge crowd. It's going to be hot. It's going to be upper 80s, possibly as high as 90 when they open the gates on Saturday afternoon. It'll start cooling down a little bit for the game time. It's 6 o'clock, I believe it is. But I am planning on doing, believe it or not, somewhere between 250 and 300 gallons of fresh squeezed lemonade. Now, that's several thousand lemons. And you just don't have time to squeeze, time or staff to squeeze lemons on site. So you got to do it ahead of time. So I've been spending a lot of my time in my kitchen here at the farm squeezing lemons. And I've over the years have gotten a way that I can store the concentrated lemon squeezings for a couple days until we get there Saturday. So looking for a huge night Saturday night. Saturday morning, I will do this broadcast as our normal schedule because my activities will start later in the day. But anyway, I wanted to make mention of that. So I have been squeezing lemons and will be squeezing them again today. Also on September 29th, I will be on the Norwegian Dawn as it sails out of Port Canaveral. Let me know if you're going to be on that ship. I'll be there and we'll meet up for an adult beverage or a non-adult beverage or a cup of tea or coffee or something. Look forward to seeing you. I'll be doing a lot of shooting videos and taking pictures and being obnoxious as I usually am. I will be on October the 1st. I will be in Key West, and that's as far as I've gotten on my planning for shore. I haven't decided what to do at Key West yet. Of course, throughout many of the ports, I've been to about every Margaritaville that Buffett ever um, uh, thought of. And of course, the original Margaritaville is in Key West. There are a couple just terrific bars along there on Duval Street. There's Sloppy Joe's, and there's a steakhouse down there that I have had recommended to me. There's, of course, the key lime pie factory. I know you can't tell that I'm a big fat guy, but key lime pie is might just be in my sights as well. So I haven't decided what I'm going to be doing yet in Key West, but I'm sure that an adult beverage may be involved. And I maybe just take that comp tour, the train tour, just ride around town and, again, take pictures and be obnoxious. But anyway, so I'll be in Key West on the 1st, and then we go to, and I can't remember which day is where, we go to Nassau, the day in Nassau, because I'm not a big fan of Nassau because you get attacked when you get off the ship with selling stuff. I may do a day on the ship at Nassau where I do videos on what to do when a ship's in port. Things like a hot tub with nobody in it, or a swimming pool with 3 people in it, or a bar where there's just the bartender and nobody's there but you. I've stayed on ship at ports of call before and had great days. So I may do just something silly and when I'm in Nassau. I'll do something in Freeport the day I'm there, and a Great Stirrup Key on the last day. I have not been to Great Stirrup Key, so I definitely will go on shore there. So anyway, that's coming up for me. It's a 5-dayer. It's the first time I've ever been on a short cruise. So I'll be on the Norwegian Sun out of Port Canaveral on the 29th. So if you're going on that cruise, let me know. So that's about wraps it up for today. I've been a little bit chatty this morning, not real fond about the information I had to deliver, but that's what happens sometimes when you're dealing with news. You have to do things you don't like. So anyway, my thoughts and prayers are with all you guys in Florida. I'll have updates during the day today and tomorrow as needed. I'll see you again Saturday morning. By then, we should have a real good handle on where this thing is going to go. And let's just keep hoping that something happens that we don't know about. It's going to change everything. But I'm afraid that may not happen. So anyway, that's it for today. As always, appreciate a thumbs up or thumbs down. Doesn't matter. Let YouTube know you're watching. You're watching. And as always, hit that little subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. I appreciate each and every one of you. And that's it for today. I'll see you again Saturday morning if we don't do an update between now and then. For now, this is Chillie Falls with Chillies Cruises. Later, y'all.